Welcome to the Claritas Investment Certificate Program designed by the CFA Institute USA for anyone who works in the world of investment industry and a must-do course for non-finance professional. Now, let's understand who should be doing Claritas. If you belong to one of these roles, whether you're working for the investment industry or if you're working for the financial services industry like banks, or if you want to switch fields from your existing industry to the investment industry, or you may be even a student, this course is meant for you. And the next couple of slides will explain on why you should be doing Claritas. So let's see, if you are a person who belongs to the marketing team or a marketing division of your company, why you should be doing Claritas. Yes, this will be definitely helping you in your career. So you have a couple of advantages in doing this in this certification. First of all, you get a very detailed and deeper understanding of the financial products, which will help you in mapping the right product to the right segment by having targeted campaigns. Next, you can have a very intelligent conversation with the prospects because you start understanding them better and also the products better. You will start avoiding to be doing mis-selling by following well-defined ethical standards as defined by the profession. And last but not the least, you can start giving timely feedback and suggestions to your management on how the product is performing, and maybe you can provide certain alternatives for course correction. Now, let's see a real life situation, or rather, if I may say, a sad story of a sales manager called Karthik, who works for this investment company. And he has an existing customer called Sunil, who's little old and about to retire. He has some idle cash in his account, and he needs the cash after he needs that money after 12 months, not immediately. So what he is doing is he is going and asking Karthik to suggest certain suitable investment avenues for him. Karthik, even without thinking too much, is very eager in recommending him to invest in an equity mutual fund and saying that it's going to give you better returns. Now let's understand what are the couple of problems are that you foresee in this case. The topmost is ethics. Everybody knows in this industry that mutual funds give higher sales commission. So what Karthik has done, he's looked at his personal interest rather than the interest of the customer. Next, suitability. Karthik did not verify the risk profile or appetite of his customer, whether he can invest in an instrument like mutual fund or not. This is a very key before you can even recommend an investment. Third, uncertainty of returns. It's not only uncertainty of returns, if you see, it's even uncertainty of the principal also, because mutual funds are subject to market risk. Sunil might either getting a very lesser return below the expectation, or he might end up losing even certain part of his investment. Now let's see, if you are the one who belongs to the operations department in your company, why you should be doing Claritas and how it's going to be helping you. First of all, you can understand complete life cycle of an investment product right from the origination stage, that is the first stage of the investment, thereafter to servicing the investment, and thereafter to the final closure or settlement. The next, you can have more intelligent conversation with your internal teams like your product teams and marketing teams. The most important part is you start understanding the transaction behavior of different investment instruments in terms of their cutoff times, their behavior, etc. By doing so, you facilitate timely execution. And if you're the one who belongs to the compliance part of the organization, it's a very crucial role that you're doing. You need to make sure that people in your company follow well-defined ethical practices to enhance and regain trust from all the market participants. You can ensure tighter compliance to investment operational policies It's very important to avoid customer and organizational losses and even potential litigation and reputational damage to your firm. This is nowadays becoming a key. And lastly, by gaining this knowledge and certification, you become more aware of the changing investment practices and the investment climate. Now, let's look at a real life situation of a lady called Rosie who works in an operations team, and let's see how she ends up taking a wrong decision in her day-to-day life. See what happens on a very busy day. See, operations team is the team that gets highly impacted. This is a day where she ends up getting a lot of liquidation or redemption requests from multiple clients. One was for maturity processing for bonds, other was for the sale of futures. Here, let's take an example of Tata futures, and many more. She is not too conversant, or she does not understand too much on the different nature of these instruments or their riskiness as compared to the market timing. She takes her own decision to process the bonds maturity first, and then she decides to work on the Tata futures. But what happens in the meanwhile? The price of the Tata futures starts declining. It's a great problem here. So let's understand on what are the two things. First of all, it is the time sensitivity on the type of a transaction which she is not aware of. Ideally, she should have acted on the Tata futures first, as it is very market sensitive. You might be aware the price of the futures changes every second. Okay, and if it starts going down, the customer will start losing money. Now, in this example, there is a clear case of a financial loss which the customer will surely claim, and the organization will have to give it by taking necessary approvals. Secondly, Rosie is not very clear on the life cycle of different types of instruments in terms of the stages of the redemption or a sale. What are the different stages an instrument goes through? So this is a very key that anybody in the operations team should be knowing. Now let's see a different kind of a profile in case you belong to the customer service department of your organization, why you should be doing Claritas and how it's going to be helping you. First of all, if you see, by gaining this knowledge, you start understanding more customer specific investment products to provide them timely and effective service. You start understanding the customer in a more detailed manner. With the kind of knowledge you have, you can start giving faster customer service. You can start giving quick query resolution, which will add to the customer delight. And this is not it. You can help your organization grow by cross-selling other investment products by anticipating the customer need. If you belong to the administrations team, Claritas will help you in understanding the investment life cycle and the industry structure through which you can create a better surround system for your organization, or if you may call, a better infrastructure for an efficient functioning for the operations team and the other teams of your organization. Again, in case you, after a couple of years, you would want to switch your roles from an admin, which is kind of a back office, to a front office, you become more eligible to be a part of that switch because you have that kind of a knowledge. Now let's look at a real life situation of Mr. Rohan, who works for the customer service team of this organization called XYZ Investments. Mr. Sunil, who is a customer, he is not very tech savvy. He's not a very tech or an investment savvy, and does not have much information about his investments. So he calls up Mr. Rohan and he has a couple of queries. The query number one he wants to ask is, to get a better yield, should he choose a product which gives a kind of a simple interest or a compound based interest? The next query he had is about his investment that he made about a year ago in a stock called HLL. He wants to understand more on what is the exact return. And the third query he asked about a different kind of fixed return products that his company is offering. Mr. Rohan looks to be not very comfortable giving an instant answer. He says, sir, I will call you back in 15 minutes. And believe me, if I was Mr. Sunil, I would be very keen to get out of this company and maybe look for a better investment firm, as these kind of queries I expect to be getting an instant answer. So let's look at what are the problems here surrounding Mr. Rohan. First of all, his knowledge is very incomplete on a couple of terminologies here. Maybe he's not very sure about the compound interest part, how to calculate the yield, etc. And and he's not very competent to provide an instant response to Sunil to satisfy his need. In this case, a 15-minute delay in providing a crisp response to Mr. Sunil may end up in losing the business of Mr. Sunil in future. If you're working in the HR department in the investment industry, you might be really wondering, do I really need to do Claritas? The answer is definitely yes. You need to do Claritas because again, it will also help you in a couple of aspects in carrying out your day-to-day activities. As a member of your HR team, you are instrumental in creating a very solid team for your organization by hiring the right person for the right investment related job. When you're looking at the resume of the candidate, you will start getting detailed understanding of different types of investment roles performed by the candidate in the past by going through them in a greater detail. And lastly, you can really help your organization in creating a proper appraisal matrix by identifying objective and subjective criteria that are required for any type of an investment role. Now let's see why an IT professional working in an investment industry needs to do Claritas. Typically what I've seen is business teams in all these IT companies comes with a lot of business requirements that needs to be customized in the application. If you have the requisite knowledge, you can also contribute in this process of getting the right business requirements. IT teams are known to push back the requirements coming from the business, saying that hey, it's not possible, or it will take more time, or I don't have the bandwidth. But if you're the person, if you're aware on the nature of the different types of investment products and their processes, you will be more willing to introduce and implement straight through processing, which will help your organization to a greater detail. Lastly, you will be more keen in quickly launching the products by facilitating right from the conceptualization stage to the final delivery of your products. Now let's look into the real life situation of an HR professional. See, the investment head of a broking company instructs the HR department to look for a new hires for his department for the below two profiles. The profile 1, he needs a research analyst with about 5 to 8 experience in the business of commodity derivatives and options trading strategy. And the second profile is the head is looking also for a relationship manager having handled large portfolios of high net worth individuals of worth over 100 million across different types of investment products. Now let's look what is the problem here. See, this HR person is not very familiar of these type of roles and is not very sure on how to filter these roles from the job portal to find the suitable candidate to meet the investment head's requirement. Now let's look at one more example of an IT kind of a professional. There is a company called, for example, Dan Finance Software, who sells different types of software modules to cater to project finance, working capital, supply chain to firms across the world. So what happens on a typical day? The business head of the project finance team requests for a custom development to compute certain aspects of an IRR or an NPV and discounted payback for a stream of cash flows. This request goes to the software programmer and with a request that we need to get this going in the matter of 7 days, and they need this in the matter of 7 days, maybe due to some business pressure. So let's see what is the problem here. See, this programmer starts the job even without understanding the basics of the requirement. He or she is not aware on the specific terminologies mentioned here, like an IRR, like an internal rate of return, or an NPV, net present value, and he starts instantly coding the requirement based on the requirement specification document. Uh, this results in multiple iteration to the code, and finally the expectation is met after a delay of a couple of days. This delay and this situation could have been avoided if the programmer knew some more details and depth on what is the nature of IRR, what is an IRR, what is an NPV, how it is used. So a knowledge on these kind of concepts will indeed help. Uh, if you are a relationship manager of your firm, let's see how Claritas is going to help you in performing your day-to-day activities. Gaining this knowledge, one can start recommending and cross-selling the right set of investment products and contributing to the fee-based income of the organization. There is a slight correction here, so I'm going to be repeating the recording for this slide. Now let's understand, if you are a relationship manager of a bank, why you should be doing Claritas and how Claritas is going to be helping you. First of all, gaining this knowledge, you will start recommending the right set of products and cross-selling the right set of avenues to the customer, thereby contributing to the fee-based income of your bank. Secondly, you will start understanding the composition of the overall investment portfolio of the customer and understand in detail the risk factors in that. Third, you start understanding more on the investment policy statement and suggest suitable asset allocation. For those who don't know what is an IPS, investment policy statements is a statement which is signed between the customer and the firm, which articulates the needs and the objectives of the investment, which also speaks about the customer's investment risk appetite. So this is very crucial because nowadays this is also taken as one of the legal document. Next, you start understanding the portfolio performance and you can start measuring it in a greater detail and start communicating in a timely manner to the customer. And last but not least, as a stepping stone in the world of investment education, you become more aware and ready to venture in gaining the gold standard in investment education by pursuing the CFA program as a next step. If you are the one who wishes to switch your industry from your existing industry to an investment industry, or if you are a student and you are looking for some entry level position, let's see how Claritas is going to be helping you to shape up your career. First of all, you start gaining basic understanding in the world of investment industry, different types of financial products in that industry, like equity, bonds, derivative, commodities, etc. Very important, you start gaining more knowledge on the risk and return attributes of these different types of investment products. Needless to say that ethical standards nowadays are gaining more and more importance in the world of investment industry, which is nowadays the backbone for the same. And by doing Claritas, you get a great deal of exposure in understanding the ethical standards also. And last but not the least, you can accelerate your learning curve in this industry as compared to a person who has a very lesser or no knowledge in the world of investment industry. And this is not it. You get something more, and by doing Claritas, you can start learning to manage your and your family investment and finances more intelligently and more efficiently. How? Because you start understanding different types of investment products available in the market, investment avenues, and you can start investing as per your risk appetite, your risk appetite or your family's risk appetite, and choose the right product that suits your need. Very important, once the investment life cycle begins, you can know and understand how to measure different types of returns which will help you to take timely course correction, either stick to the same investment or you can change it to a different type of investment product. Lastly, you can have a very intelligent and matured conversation with your relationship manager and banker, and you can connect with what they are recommending it to you. EduPristine can really help you in gaining this certification. We have good online recordings. We have topic-wise study material in the form of presentation, mock tests. There are 2 mock tests which are kind of an online kind of a mock test. Very rich question bank which will help you to get a better deal of practice before you enter the exam. And there are really intelligent discussion forums in case you want to understand and share your ideas. We highly recommend you to upgrade your skills using this certification. In case you have any queries, you can write an email in this ID or you can call us in this number. So thanks a lot for your time and happy learning.